we are. Here we are, Tuesday. Good morning. Sorry I'm a couple minutes late. It is wild. You know how Glenn is always like, hey, there's something wild that happened this morning, like something just turned off or whatever. It's true. Like, it is a very true thing. I haven't done this show obviously as much as Glenn, but I've done a lot. And without fail, I feel like every morning there's something weird that happens, like right before. Like, I have this light here, and I'm sorry I'm being kind of quiet. I got sleepy people up there. Like this light I had right here, it just turned off. Like, I'm about to go live and it just turned off. And so I go and I see if like the outlet's working, everything's fine. I tried different outlets and it just would not turn back on. So anyways, it's just weird. Like, it is like a do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Breakfast with Champions has a Facebook group or a Facebook profile. Has this been a thing? Have I missed this? That's pretty cool. Hi, good morning, Wes. Good morning, Rodney. Good morning, Sarah. All right, what do I got today? I have my Creative South mug. Creative South. Y'all know I'm big into the mugs. It determines what kind of day you're gonna have. Don't tell me you don't. I think it's a conscious choice what kind of mug you pick out. Oh, Trisha. Hello, Trisha. Good morning. And then I saw Saul, Renee. Good to see y'all. West Storm. If I didn't say good morning to you, good morning to you. Creative South. So this was a conference I went and spoke at last year on storytelling and creativity. And I remember at this conference, I learned a really valuable lesson. It was a hard lesson to learn, but it's one I'll remember forever. And here it is. If you are speaking, never, ever, ever make your own slides. Don't have them or hire somebody to make them for you. Here's why. Well, I would say you should never. It was a graphic design conference, and all the other people there who were speaking, I didn't think about it. Now, Glenn always tells me, Heather, don't have slides, but I like to have a few with just like visuals on them, because for me, I'm a little ADD when people are speaking, and it's hard for me to like not have an anchor. So like having a photo of something or having a word. I love when people just put a word or they just put a quote, because I like taking pictures of slides too. I'm weird. I don't know if y'all are like this or not. But I don't like it when people are like, point one, and they read it. That's ridiculous. But you know what I'm saying? Just have like a visual element to it. So I remember being at this conference, I'm like, I'm gonna have like a visual element to what I'm talking about. I was gonna have pictures, a couple videos, some funny quotes. But then I just didn't think about it because I'm not fancy, and I made these slides in like Google Slides or whatever. But then I didn't think about that I was going to a graphic design conference, and everybody there had the most badass slides you've ever seen in your life. I'm talking about like they would flip to the slides and it was like an experience. Like I have never been so wowed by slideshows. And then I came up there and I would have like a black slide with one word on it that was miscentered. And I'm like, follow your dreams. It was bad. But anyway, I love this mug. It just reminds me to stay in the lane that you are in. Stay in the lane you are in, and let other people who are in their lane do their lane. Amen. That's why we're all different. That's why we all got each other. Hi, Don Sankey. Hi, Bella. Hi, Patricia. Y'all are all up in here this morning. Good morning, y'all. Happy day after Labor Day. Did y'all work or did you not work? That's the question. Labor Day. Quote of the day, Tuesday, September the 2nd, right? September the 2nd. That's crazy. This was contributed by Glenn Lundy. Do y'all know him? Do you know him? Glenn Lundy says, no one in the world should ever feel alone. No one in the world should ever feel alone. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Mike worked a little. Awesome mug, says Valerie. Thank you. Slept, Heather Parody. Oh, you slept yesterday. Good for you. I'm a big proponent of sleep. Get some sleep. Get some rest. Now you're awake. No one should ever feel alone. I have another story for you. I don't know why this made me think of this morning. This weekend, was it this weekend? Yeah. My days are so like I don't even know what day of the week it is most of the time. I went to a assisted living home, and it was one of those like really fancy assisted living homes. Like these, I want to live there. You know what I mean? Like I do. I really genuinely do. It looked like the White House. And then they had like wine and good food, and it was like 3 p.m. and people were like, they were having a good time. And I'm like, dang, y'all did things right to get into this assisted living home. But the reason I was there is I'm a part of a storytelling team, and we go to different places and tell stories and stuff. It's kind of like it's kind of the comedy or improv troupe you would think of, but you don't do improv, you do stories. It's really weird. But normally we go to places like clubs or places people would go on a date, you know, and they go and see storytelling. That's what we go and do. But the guy who leads it has been going to, or setting up this stuff where we can go to different assisted living homes, which I love because, you know, we kind of had this idea with what Glenn is saying of like, hey, how are we giving back to the community? How are we, you know, so forth. No one should ever feel alone, contributed by Glenn Lundy. So we're like, we're going to be, you know, do the right thing and not just go to some places, but go to all the places, you know? So we went to this assisted living home Saturday. And it was my turn to tell a story. And the way with this runs is everybody takes a turn on the little storytelling troupe, and we'll tell like a 5-minute story. And then we'll have a host, and he has like little jokes in between and so forth. And it's a real life first person story. And we usually try to make it funny or dramatic, you know, there's all kinds of stories. It's really interesting. But I decided to tell a story about, it's a story I've told a couple of times at a couple of different places, and it always does really, really well. But it's a story about when I was 16 and I was involved in a hit and run accident, and I was the person who hit and ran. Yeah, it is bad. Like the whole thing that happened was so bad, and I learned a huge lesson, and I was humiliated, and there was a whole thing, and it changed my life. Like for real. It was like a crazy experience. It was like one of those things where you did the wrong thing, and now you're slightly embarrassed to talk about it, but it's actually kind of funny now, and it had a huge life lesson. So I tell this story quite a bit to folks because it's just, you know, I think it's entertaining and it's honest. That was the wrong crowd to tell that story to. The wrong crowd. I'll tell you what, they did not like me after that. The moment I said what I did, they didn't hear the rest of the story about the redemption, about the long conversation with my dad, about the cop, about how they didn't hear none of that. They just heard that I hit and ran, and they're looking at me and they're like, This one lady goes, she holds her chest like that. And they looked ashamed of me. But the funny part about this, I don't know why I'm telling y'all this. I don't know why I'm telling you that. It just, Glenn said no one should ever feel alone. And then I thought alone, and I thought about, you know, these people I thought were kind of maybe feeling alone at this assisted living home, but actually were living a better life than me. And I want to be a part of their club because they were having a good time. But they were not happy with that story I told. And it was funny because out loud, it's so funny. out loud, one of the ladies sitting there just goes, "Oh God, is she just gonna sit here and talk this whole time?" And this other lady hits her next to her. She goes, "Yeah." She goes, "Is she not gonna sing or anything?" And the lady hits her and she goes, "She's here to tell a story." And the lady goes, "Oh God." And everybody could hear it. It was the greatest thing ever. I literally got heckled at the assisted living home this weekend. And I feel ashamed of myself that I told that story. But anyways, I don't know why I'm telling all this. It's early and this is what we do here. Gerald, good morning. What's going on? If you're new here and you're like, what? I'm Heather Parody. I'm filling in for Glenn Lundy. He is on Sabbath week. I keep calling it sabbatical, but it's Sabbath week. Last week he was in Vegas. So I've been with you guys this is a full week today, and we'll be with you until Friday. I love older folks too, man. I can't wait to get older. I genuinely can't. You stop caring what people think. You're funny. You do what you want to do. Like, which we could all do those things now, by the way. But anyways, so yeah, I'm with you. Been a gift to be with you this week. But yeah, let's say good morning to some folks. I don't have any music for you at all. And again, I'm sorry that I'm kind of being quiet. It's not as loud and peppy. My office is right next to my daughter's bedrooms, and those children need some sleep because they get some grumpies. They get some grumpies. Yeah. So we are just going to say good morning to one another. And if you have the chance to tag somebody who is not in this room, the reason we come together at 5:30 is to start our days on the right foot, start our days with intention, to come together with a community of other like-minded people who are running after the same things that you are. We're not supposed to do life alone. I think that's what Glenn is getting at. No one in the world should feel alone. No one in the world should have to do life alone. And even, I'm going to tell you what I've been challenged by and working on in my life is finding community in real life too. You know, like I love this. This is great. I love the other online communities I am a part of. But it's wild what being flesh and blood with people, actually means and does. And it's so easy to get isolated, be plugged in, but not plugged in. You know what I mean? So there was something yesterday somebody invited me to, and it was, it was at night. I don't like going out at night. I mean, with my family at night. The event wasn't necessarily. And I was just like, Heather, just freaking go. You're always complaining about not having like local people who you spend as much time with or friends or whatever. But in order to have friends, you got to be friendly. You know what I mean? So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to come. I'm coming. So I'm working on that. I really am, because I work from home alone. I do Zoom calls all day, which is a gift because I can go. I just go wherever I want and be remote. But it's also something that I might have to be really intentional about in my life is being in real life with people. So I don't know if y'all are like that. Y'all probably work with people. Do y'all work with people? Do you see people every day? I don't know. But we're not supposed to do life alone. So regardless of where you're at in life, this is a wonderful community to get plugged into. And if you're one of those people who are watching and not commenting, you know who you are. And maybe you're a little bit testing the waters, like what's going on here. Trust me, these folks in here, Denny, Dawn, Gerald, Saul, Rodney, these are amazing human beings. Bella, that you can be in community with. So that's that. That is that. Yesterday we talked about what was the word that we use? Suffering. I'm sorry. We talked about suffering at 5:30 in the morning. But that's been on my heart the past few days. I told a story about my daughter who recently wanted to go to a concert, and it was one of those concerts that were going to be several $100s, and it was a school night, and it was a few hours away, And we were okay, Brian and I talked about it, with her going. But we had a requirement. Children love requirements. They love it when you're like, yeah, but they love it when you do that. So she wanted to go to this concert, and we told her yes, but she was going to have to earn her way to going. Turn those mean people. So she had an opportunity to earn her way to go to this concert. And the thing that she was going to have to do was simple but not easy. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So this weekend we had a big thing. I had long talks with her because she was, I think, for the first time kind of wrestling with understanding this was on her. And she didn't like that because mommy and daddy come through a lot. And she's like, oh, this is real life. And we're like, yeah, this is real life. And guess what? If you don't do this, this is on you, you know? So suffering was a big thing that she and I talked about this weekend. Is I was like, baby girl, listen, struggle is a gift because there's reward on the other side. But also when you're looking for something new, exciting, fun, a new goal that you're pumped about, like, I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to start this thing, you know. It's sexy and fun to talk about that. But then God's like, okay, here's the price tag. Are you willing to do X? You know, so we talked about suffering a little bit yesterday, which was hilarious. There wasn't that many people on here because it's Labor Day and, you know, how it is. So I apologize to those who are in here because I'm like, we need to suffer more. And they're like, okay, happy Labor Day. But I am encouraged by it too, because I'm going after a couple of really big goals now in my life, and expecting the suffering and kind of being intentional with it. Somebody in here said it yesterday. It was really good. They said intentional sacrifice, intentional suffering, because suffering for suffering's sake is not always the way, right? But intentionally saying, you know what, I'm going to give up. I think Glenn is giving up sugar right now to lose 20 pounds. Naming it and saying, this is the suck that I'm willing to go through, and kind of pre-planning for that a little bit. You can't pre-plan for all this suck, but freaking acknowledging it. Like, what is the suck I'm going to have to go through to get to this goal, right? Lucy, my daughter, she knew the suck that it was going to take to get those concert tickets. And she made the intentional decision that that suck was not going to be worth it, which is fine. I told her, I said, Lucy, it's fine if you decide this is not really what you want, you know? Stephen Pressfield, do y'all know Stephen Pressfield? If there's one thing you know about me and you ever remember about me, Stephen Pressfield. His book, War of Art, is incredible and changed my life. But he says that resistance never appears alone. It only comes as a response to vision, a dream inside of you and me, right? Resistance never appears alone. It comes as a response to a vision, to a dream inside of you and me. So isn't it interesting to think that alongside of the suck is the parallel? It's the parallel to the vision that you see, the goal that you're going after, right? Napoleon Hill says that with every setback, with every disappointment, with every disadvantage, there is a seed of equal opportunity, right? And so again, setting the goal, setting the intention, I want this, is sexy and fun and interesting, and it gives us some dopamine, and we like telling our friends about it, and we like posting about it, and we like making the proclamations. I like writing it down and putting it on my wall, and then you feel like, yeah, and then the dopamine is gone, right? And then the suck comes in, and then the suffering comes in, and then the resistance comes in. And it is hard AF to remember what I'm saying right now. Trust me, it's hard for me. I'm in the middle of some, I told you, I set some goals a few weeks ago, and now, you know, there's a test after that. You really want that, Heather? Do you really want that? Because the equal side, the parallel to my proclamation of what I want in my life, the opposite is coming in and having me prove, is this really what you want? And I don't know why it's set up that way, but it is. It is. Resistance operates like Newton's third law of motion. For every action or dream, there is an equal and opposite reaction, resistance. So big resistance equals big old dream. And we talked yesterday about the hero's journey. And isn't it funny? We're all our heroes in our own journey, right? Our own story. But the state of, for us, this is Stephen Pressfield again, the state of frustration and dissatisfaction in which you find yourself is not hell. It is your hero's journey, right? It's the pushback so we can grow, so we can get the thing we wanted. And that sucks. It sucks. It sucks so bad. Man, it sucks. But it's true. So, I don't know if you are feeling resistance. I don't know if you're feeling this suck. And the universe is testing you of whether what you said you wanted is really what you wanted. But isn't it interesting that every hero has to go through that part of the story, every single one. And it is okay. For real, I told my daughter this weekend, I said, I'm not disappointed in you if this is not something you want to do. It's okay. You don't have to fight through this, but just acknowledge, you know what? The concert wasn't really what I wanted to go to, because your actions are showing that's not really what you value, and that's okay. You know? So our resolve of going through the resistance really clarifies what we want. Right? Are you being tested today? Breakfast with Champions? I don't know, not yet. Not yet. I mean, it's 5:55. Lord, ooh, don't test me this early. You know what I'm saying? I was tested with this light a little bit. That was crazy. Listen. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up for each other. Thank you for not giving up, being really good people out in this world, for working on yourself, for providing opportunities for people, for speaking life into people, for gathering when the rest of the world doesn't prioritize that. Thank you for being the type of people that you are. I see you. I see your names pop up. I see the pictures. I see what you're doing with your life. And there's just some badass people in here. And it's really cool knowing you and spending some time with you this week. And that's it. That's all I've got for you. Gerald says, I'm always kind of lost without the suck. Anything that comes easy, I'm suspicious of it. Amen. Hallelujah to that. All right. Love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. I almost said next week. Tomorrow. Bye.